Hi, everybody. My name is Lars Nelson. I program for Austin Film Society, AFS. During this
Hey, Lars.
crisis that we're all in, I wanted to, we're going to open a movie called The Booksellers this week, which I like a lot. So I asked some of my favorite booksellers here locally to join us and tell some stories about their lives in selling, because I think it's really fascinating. One of my colleagues here, my compatriots on the call, just pointed out that we're all wearing glasses, which I think is a real stereotype of book people, but it's totally true. We all have terrible eyesight. So I'd like to welcome my guest.
Actually, I don't. I don't have terrible eyesight.
You just
Oh,
wear.
it's just for the look.
No, I mean, I just got my first glasses. These are just like, they have like a little bit of reading on them. And that's it. Just a
Okay,
reader.
noted. Merritt's eyesight is great.
My eyesight's
Yeah,
pretty
but-
awesome, actually.
Wow, that's good. Even up close?
What?
Even up close?
Yeah, I mean, that's mostly why I wear them, is like,
Yeah.
so I can read and function.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
got
just be
the vibe.
taking,
Yeah.
I can't be taking readers off and on. That's
Yes,
it.
exactly.
So let me introduce our participants. We've got Sherry Tornatore, who I remember I met at working at Half Price Books a long time ago, but you've branched off and you have your own business now. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, everything I learned from Half Price Books for the most part, definitely. But I used to be a really big a crazed book buyer even before Half Price. But in fact, I spent a lot of time in some of the bookstores in Manhattan because my family's from up there. So, and I left Half Price about 15 years ago, and these guys took over, and man, they've just been great.
So Sherry,
And my shop is it's kind of more like one of the little shops in New York, or anywhere. It's like 1,000 square feet, and it was a real adjustment to go from a big store like Half Price, which is so awesome because there are so many different kinds of books that you can get in there. That I'm often jealous of the old days, even though I have my own shop. It's just very small. It's a niche-y kind of place.
well, plug it. Tell us what it's called.
It's called South Congress Books, and it's in sort of a very touristy area that's also fun, across the river from everybody else who has books, pretty much. But it's fun. I like it. It's really fun being in a small store. It's all I can handle now at the age that I'm at right now.
Right. You can say it. 74. It's
50. But yeah, these guys were great to, working at Half Price was where I really saw, I mean, I feel like I don't know about you guys, but I literally bought millions, really, of books. And I'm still astounded at how many books that I see that I've never seen before. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So
Yeah.
Merritt, introduce yourself. I remember, it feels like yesterday you were working at High Time Cafe on.
Oh, right. Yes.
So you've been working at Half Price Books for a long time. And I should note, for people who are like, Half Price Books, isn't that a chain? Yes and no. Half Price Books is a chain, and you can go and find stores in the suburbs that sell mostly Bible covers. Half Price Books on North Lamar is a real bookstore. It's because of the real book people like Merritt and Teresa that you're going to meet this now. So, Merritt, tell us a little bit about your life in books.
Well, my name is Merritt Spencer, and I've worked at Half Price Books since 1999, and I worked with Teresa and Sherry back then when we were on Quad across the street from the university.
And me.
Huh?
Yeah.
And
me.
Lars.
And Lars.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, I figured he knew that, but yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. I was working at the Dog and Duck Pub before I started to work at Half Price because I needed a change. And one of the bartenders at Dog and Duck said, well, at least people aren't just going to hang out after work and read themselves to death. And, and I think, yeah, it was nice to get out of that environment, although the Dog and Duck was great and I miss it. But yeah.
And Teresa, you've been there for 20 plus years too, right? Or 20 years or so?
About 21 years now. I started in 1999 as well. It was going to be kind of a temporary job, like it's too.
So, and I worked with all of you guys when I had a brief period of being a terrible bookseller. I worked at the Stand in New York, and then I worked at Half Price for a little bit too. So, I'm
You aren't terrible.
No, you weren't terrible.
I was
I
pretty
tried to hire you after you left Half Price. Remember that?
Yeah, and I talked you out of it because of this stupid move. You just wanted to hire me because I have long arms and I'm tall. That's it.
And
That
yeah,
is handy.
Yeah. So tell me, you guys, just among your shared experience, like what is a book person? Because we talk about certain people that are book people. A lot of people read, but aren't necessarily book people. What is a book person?
oh, Merritt left on that one. You mean like a buyer or a seller or?
What draws people, like if you look at kind of your customers, like what are those people like? What is a book person?
Introverted.
Mm-hmm. Nearsighted, knowledgeable.
I think we might be stereotyping a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but
Well, sure, yeah, of course.
but I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer. First I wanted to tell Lars, congrats for getting this, because not many people in the US are getting to do this, to show it before June. So that's cool. But one of the things in the trailer is Franny Leibowitz saying that when she's on the subway, the people that she sees reading books are like 20 somethings now. So yeah, I think it used to be more like the nerd image, but I just think everyone's reading so much now, because actually having being able to read online has made people open up to real books too. That's my experience. Just wanting to know more and read more, and that's my experience. What do you guys think?
I think so, and people realizing that there's that they want information that they can only find, in a book. We see lately in the past couple years, we've had these guys come in who like live in apartment buildings, but they want to do woodworking. And they can't use power tools, so they're looking for old books about woodworking and how to do it by hand. It's interesting things like that. People are realizing that they're just going to have to go to a bookstore to find something like that. Just not really online.
Mm-hmm. Teresa, you spend a lot of time in the rare book room, so that's a place where you get to see like a lot of the people that are looking for sort of deeper subject matter or more unusual or arcane subject matter. Mm-hmm. What do you think sort of characterizes the people that end up in the rare book room at Half Price Books looking for stuff?
Well, they're usually people that have either casually or obsessively been looking for a particular something, and they don't really want to find it online. They want to have that person epiphany of like, here it is. And even if I need, the conduit, I guess, that we can find it in our inventory, or I can look for it somewhere in the back. And they kind of get you interested in subject matter that you ordinarily wouldn't encounter. So I always enjoy seeing the kind of that really are on this holy grail hunt.
I think that the sort of the in-store browsing aspect of books is huge, and there's so much randomness that's sort of involved in it. And I remember when I was a kid, going to my local library and looking, I read every Stephen King book, but then just to the left of Stephen King there was Jack Kerouac, and I kept seeing all these books by Jack Kerouac, and I never would have. Like, how would I have run into Jack Kerouac? It was just next to Stephen King, and I saw it all the time, and at some point picked it up and looked at it and thought it was interesting. So that's just not going to happen if you're searching for Stephen King or whatever online. You would not have had that experience.
Right. It's sort of like the I know that if I'm shopping online and I see a suggestion based on stuff that I've bought in the past, I usually try to ignore it because I don't like the computer telling me what I should be interested in. I'm
Totally.
more interested, like how DJs used to, late at night introduce you to songs you would ordinarily hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that I resent it when like, somebody says, you might enjoy this. I'm like, you think you know me.
You're pigeonholing me.
Yeah. I think you got my number, but you don't.
Yeah, so you say that to Amazon when they say, if you like that, you'd like this.
More often it's like, hey, you bought a wallet. Want to buy another wallet? It's like that.
Oh, yeah. Not even the Well, I think what Teresa said is absolutely true about the hunt. I mean, that kind of is what a used book person is like. I mean, there's plenty of used book people who just want a book to read, and they do order it online usually. But when you go into Half Price or you come into our store, it's about like, what can I find? What's going to jump out at me this time? Or, these people change their shelves a lot, which I learned at Half Price makes such a big difference. Nobody wants to keep coming back and see the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the gems that you can find and think, well, nobody else has this one, or only a few people have this book. Or this is my connection to something that I didn't even know that I loved now. You can't really just,
Right.
It's this hunt that's so amazing.
A big part of the rare book trade, I think, necessarily is that there are estates where books are being sort of someone's life work of collecting books happens, then they die, and then all these books end up going back into the ecosystem. Have you guys had any interesting experience with like lots of books that just sort of showed up? I remember recently at Half Price that there was like a bunch of Nazi books, and it was kind of like, what's the deal with all these Nazi books all of a sudden? Have you guys had an experience with like weird collections sort of flooding in?
Oh yeah, we
I wanna
had
hear
one.
that.
Huh?
I want to hear this.
Remember that, Teresa? Do you remember that one we had a couple of years back where it was somebody, I think that they had been maybe bedridden for a lot of years, and they had sent letters and books to like stars or the authors of books and asked them to sign them or inscribe them, then send them back. And we got their. Do you remember that?
I do. I thought
And
that
we had that one, but my favorite one was oh my God, what's his name? Late night host, Johnny Carson. It was Johnny Carson, but it was his unauthorized biography, and it was the one that said all this bad stuff about him, and but the guy sent it to Johnny Carson to have him sign it, and then Johnny Carson sent it back, and he said it was like to whatever the guy's name was, to Henry, this book sucks, Johnny Carson. It was like the best thing I ever saw. I was like, what a classy guy. He signed it anyway, but yeah,
I remember
it was great.
That's great.
And finally somebody bought it because of that inscription, because it's beautiful.
It's too good.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah. I bought some books from I met a guy in Ohio through my brother in Pittsburgh, long story, but he was 90 when I met him, and he had owned a steel mill in Pittsburgh for like most of his life, like 3 steel mills. Then he got interested in books, and you know what happens when you get interested in books. Like, he sold his steel mills, thank God, and then he decided to get books, and eventually he was like, oh no, what am I going to do with all these books? So he had a great jazz collection and a great music collection, because he would take his sons to see the shows, and he was so bold, and he would just take them back and say, here, sign these books. So I got all these wonderful jazz biographies that had signatures in them, and then even things like where he would then like paste articles and stuff like that in them, and cut out things, and I like that stuff. I think that stuff is really great when you get a unique book that just is stuffed with ephemera. Not something they're going to keep probably if you ordered a book online, but what you find in books. I remember when I was at Half Price, we used to have a bulletin board, and the things that you also find in books that are interesting to other people who had that book, that's also fascinating and historically fascinating. What do you guys, remember that board? Do you still have it?
Well, isn't it what? I think that we moved it to a photo album. Wasn't it put in a photo album of like found?
Oh, didn't Kenny do that or something?
That sounds like something.
I just leave the stuff in the book, though, don't you? I don't take it out. I leave it there.
Oh, I don't take it out. Yeah. But if I find a book like that, I enjoy keeping it. Yeah.
One time when I was working at Half Price Guad, I found $400 in a book that was just I couldn't have figured out, like, who sold it to us. It was just in the back. So I just threw it in my pocket.
Yeah, totally.
Confessions.
Yeah. So, I enjoyed finding that, especially because, you don't make a lot at a bookstore usually. So that was really nice. Have you guys ever found?
Huh? Yeah. Well, what's the weirdest thing in a book?
You guys, you're the experts. What's the weirdest thing?
I found in Sonnets from the Portuguese it had to have been pubic hair tied up in a tiny bow, and the book was inscribed pumpkin.
Oh my God, that's awesome!
And it was from the 19th century, so it was. I thought it was.
Wow.
And of course, I left it in there.
Yeah.
How did you know it was a pubic hair? Not just kidding. That's really funny.
Carrie, Meredith, what have you guys found in books or in boxes of books?
Oh.
Well, we had one thing that came in Half Price that was kind of freaky. It was a book safe that had like someone's whole like kit in it, drug kit in it.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
remember that?
The whole rig and everything, spoon and like
that was kind of scary.
Creepy.
Yeah, that was freaky. So I don't know.
Works.
What's that?
Somebody's works.
Yeah, somebody's works. Yeah, that was pretty weird.
We had this set of Thucydides. It was like a 4-volume set, and no, it was 2 volumes. And the first volume somebody had owned it, I guess, at the turn of the century, the 20th century, and they had in ink drawn these just incredible maps of, I don't know, I guess ancient Rome, and just, they're just so beautiful. And he had signed his name inside the book, and I looked him up, and his brother had done something important in World War I, and they had both gone to this boarding school in England or something, but he didn't really make a name for himself, because I looked to see if he was ended up being like a map maker or something.
Yeah.
And he wasn't, but they're so beautiful. I took pictures to show you.
Oh, it's just because I didn't ever get to see it because it sold so fast.
Yeah, it sold really fast.
So wow.
But I did take pictures of it, and they were incredible little maps that he drew in there. Amazing, beautiful.
That's cool. That's I guess my favorite thing to find in books is drawings. I just love it.
Yeah.
I kind of collect them, and if it's in a book, I keep the book. And I guess I don't know, you guys can't really keep things, I guess, because you work at Half Price, but
right.
But I have a collection of drawings that people did from different centuries and stuff. And my friend Lance, who's an artist who you guys know, also has done this. And we just found out, it was years ago that we found out that each other was doing that. And we want to get, like, I'm sure some of you guys have some of these things. We want to have like a show of stuff that these beautiful drawings, or just these very young drawings of people, naive kinds of things, whatever. And think it would be really great to have this whole wall of things that people found in books that were just really great, beautiful art, even on.
I agree. Well, I know Teresa and I take pictures of them for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you guys feel like that there's an obligation across the centuries to leave things that you find in books, in those books? Because I feel like, Teresa, I get the sense that like you left that pubic hair in that book. Like,
What is she gonna do with it?
Is there like, is there like a higher calling that the things in books should remain in books?
Yeah, Teresa, you could have passed that on to your children. I mean, come on.
I mean, if it's something embarrassing, then I'd probably take it out. If the person's probably still alive and it was like some embarrassing love letter they wrote or something, and they might be walking around town, then I'd probably toss that, or naked pictures or something.
Right.
And if it's damaging the book, maybe get rid of it. But yeah, I definitely think you should leave it in there. That's the best. That's the best part.
It should stay with the book.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we talked about some of the. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I mean, although I just said I took stuff out, so. I mean, I think so, but sometimes, you know, as a collector, you're just, I don't know, you just got to have it or something.
Sure, like
you just take that. Like, would it be inside the book for the next owner, or would it be nice to share it, you know, in an exhibit? I mean, I would love to see. I'm going to read my books and see if I see any weird drawings in it. I have some.
Yeah,
I have tons of photos I could give you.
Yeah,
I think that if it's like a Baedeker like guide or something like that, and then there's like a drawing of like a temple that's depicted, that somebody's just drawn themselves inside it or whatever, that should stay there because it belongs to that book. But there are probably many things that don't necessarily belong with the book they're probably safe to repopulate or to share elsewhere.
Yeah.
I want to get to this part.
I'm wondering, Lars, why you didn't leave the $400 in.
Because I needed $400 right then, actually. Had a real bad drug habit at the time. I mean, I'm not going into it. But the
Had a real bad bills habit.
Yeah, real bad rent habit. But I was wondering, because when I used to work, I remember sometimes you'd open like a box of books and it would be like larva inside. What's the like worst thing that you've ever run into in a buy that just made you go, I quit, I can't do this?
One time I was working with this guy and there was a bag laying on the counter. We were gonna, about to do the buy, and we lifted it up and there was this little brown turd looking thing. And it was like shiny and like, and it was just laying there. We both took 3 steps back and kind of just looked at it for a minute. And then we realized it was like an unwrapped miniature candy bar. That was just, but it was horrifying for about 30 seconds.
But you're expecting the worst in those situations. Also,
it looked more like a turd than a turd does,
Right.
Yeah. Somebody in the Byron probably planted it there.
Yeah, they did. Just horror. We found horrible stuff. Scorpions, like a whole box full of scorpions.
Yeah. Every kind of bug.
Roaches. Yeah.
Silverfish.
Oh yeah.
The half price truck, I still laugh when I see it, when it says silverfish on board.
Yeah. Too true.
There's been food. I mean, people like breakfast, fell in or something, just like 3 years ago, and they never took it out, and they just thought, well, I'll just bring the box as is. I mean,
totally.
It can be nightmarish. Yeah.
I found a mouse, like a mouse skeleton head and a spine, but there weren't.
You didn't keep it?
No, we declined the buy.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I was wondering where the arms and legs went, that it was just the head.
They were
and-
just on the bottom somewhere, probably.
Probably.
They're little.
I'm looking through it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So as part of this whole crisis, obviously no bookstores, no brick and mortar bookstores are open right now. So you guys are all out of work or furloughed, or are you working in mail order, or what's everybody doing right now?
I'm furloughed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm furloughed.
Myself, I'm furloughed as well, but I furloughed my people, which are only like 3.5. But I have talk about amazing book people. The people that own my building generously the day after we closed called to say, don't worry about rent, just pay your people. Now those are
That's
really
amazing.
book people. And so those are, just very progressive, wonderful people. So I've been able to, apply and I think I'm going to be able to pay my people all the way through. So, and I hope you guys are okay too. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they did lay off quite a few people. I'm not sure what the whole number was, but something like 2,000 people were either furloughed or laid off with half price. I don't know what percentage, were laid off.
yeah.
So, and I don't know, maybe there'll be another round. Who knows?
Yeah, I hope you guys are back. Since you've both been working there for over 20 years, I imagine you're probably up in the $8 an hour range. So it might be
I know.
tempting to let
They
you guys off.
get us cheap, but
I made $6 an hour when I was there. So
yeah.
you
Yeah,
don't
that was what
feel
it
like
started
you're making a lot
at.
of money. That certainly.
You got to do records, which was like,
I know, yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah. I convinced everybody that I knew something about music, so that was my trick.
Well, you did. I mean, that's the fun part too, is you like working with people that know so much about so many weird different things.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about bookstores is I kind of feel like these are really scholars on a level like Chris Jones, like all the wonderful people that you guys work with. Like these are super smart people who have chosen to go this way, and all of you guys too, of course. I mean, but we all know them. Like you can kind of run down the list of all the people that you worked with. It's like it's this guy's or this woman. They're smart enough to be university professors, certainly, and learn it enough. So it does seem like it's almost like this sort of honorific procession of scholars that choose to work in bookstores and to be book people.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I also think it's those that would maybe be a little too, not wild, but, just like the atmosphere of a bookstore as opposed to a university where you have to narrow your focus. It's kind of wider and more appealing to, and you can learn like from other people that just so it's like Instagram, you can grab a person and say, hey, you know this, show me, or whatever. So yeah.
Plus you can go to work in your pajamas, which is nice.
But you can these days too.
University?
Oh no, I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these particular days you can't.
These particular
Yeah. Oh
days.
yeah. Now. Yeah. I mean, I'm wearing pajamas right now. But I mean, when you go to work at a bookstore.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I want to thank you guys. I've reached our time limit here, but I want to thank you guys for joining us and talking about all this stuff. And thank you for all the work that you all do, continuing to hustle books. You know that you'll see me because I'll be around buying books too. So I really appreciate all the work you guys do, and I look forward to seeing you guys there again. I've realized how much I'm just dying to go to bookstores again right now, and I'm sure a lot of people are really experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lars.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Lars. It was good to see y'all.
Hey, are you completely out of time?
Are we really out of time?
Yeah.
No.
I just want to show you something.
Sure.
Can you see this?
Yes, Manhattan Booksellers.
Yeah, so I got this in 1997.
Right.
And see all the pieces of paper?
Wow. Yeah.
where I've bookmarked it and everything and going to, there was 600 entries in 1997.
Oh my God.
And I mean, a few of them are like City College bookstore, but that was a lot of bookstores in Manhattan only, you know, and it was a great time. But I can't wait to see the film. And
How many bookstores do you think are in Manhattan now?
I think they say in the film, so I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool.
But a lot less than what's in this book. And yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was a fun.
That is
Fun
interesting.
show and tell. It's great to see you guys.
Great to see
Yeah.
you.
Good to see you guys. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Lars. Thank you.
Stay safe and sane.
Yeah, you too.